Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for a very special episode of Clutch City Kitchen.
This month, Cher and I are joining the Inspirational Forest Foundation and their Let There Be Gold campaign. We are going gold for childhood cancer awareness.
Did y'all know that only 4% of the federal cancer research budget goes to pediatric cancer?
This is why the Forest Foundation's work is so critical to bringing brighter days and better treatment to children affected by cancer. They raise money for research and remind these children and their families that they are important, and we see their shine.
You can support the efforts of the Forest Foundation by visiting their swag shop online. We're sporting their shiny shirts and their tote bag for our ingredients here today.
So today, join us in honoring these golden children and families with this very special recipe. It's a comfort recipe. We're doing a golden grilled cheese and a healthy tomato soup.
Let's get started. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our golden recipe. Here we have the classic grilled cheese, and we would not dare mess with this. So we're gonna use white bread and a little bit of light mayo on the outside to give it that nice golden crisp. And then we're gonna be using cheddar cheese, and we made sure to grate it and not put slices in the bread so that it grills when you put it on the skillet. The cheese melts evenly and you're not waiting forever.
Yeah, that was key. We're gonna pair that golden grilled cheese with a tomato soup. So since we're not going healthy on the grilled cheese, we're gonna go a little lighter on the tomato soup. Most recipes for tomato soup call for a lot of butter and they call for some cream. Instead of using cream and butter, we're gonna use a white bean. This gives it that same rich texture, creamy texture, without all those extra fat calories. We have here about 7 tomatoes. We've cut them up in pieces. You're gonna go ahead and use a hand blender for that later, you'll see. We have an onion. We have fresh basil from our garden, thanks to our grandmother and mom. They nurture it very lovingly, and you can tell. We're using some tomato concentrate to bring out the tomato flavor from if these tomatoes are not as flavorful. We got a little garlic, salt to taste, and we'll put pepper to taste at the very end. And we're using vegetable broth right here in this glass. Our vegetable broth is store-bought, but you can do as you please with that. When it comes to the tomatoes, a lot of people don't like skin on their tomatoes, they want to peel it. We personally don't mind, and we like the nutrients that come with it. The skin of tomatoes has flavanol, which is really good for heart health. So we like to keep it, and we don't really mind compromising on the taste in that capacity. It still purees well for me. But up to you guys. If you guys do want to get rid of the skin, you can just put it through a strainer after you've cooked it, and you should be good to go. Let's get started.
So excited. Here with our grilled cheese, and we have the skillet on the lowest heat setting to make sure that the cheese melts evenly and slowly and we get a nice golden crisp on this bread here. We've taken low-fat mayonnaise and kind of taken a little bit and spread it across the bread, which is gonna give it a nice little crisp on the bottom side. But before we start with the bread, we're gonna spray a little bit of Pam inside the pan. Make sure nothing sticks. And then I'm gonna take our first piece of bread here. Put this down.
Mayo side down.
Mayo side down. And then we're gonna take our cheese and make sure it's spread evenly. So this is cheddar cheese that we grated.
Mild, but you can use whatever kind you want.
Yeah. Just gonna spread it out evenly.
Lay it on.
Yep.
The best part.
This top, and we're gonna put it on the skillet. This is basically just gonna allow for the heat to get trapped in the skillet and will allow the cheese to melt. So that when we put the other side of the bread down, it'll stick nicely and then it'll char and get crispy on the other side as well. So we are done with the grilled cheese and we're about to open it up and take a nice look at it. Look at that. It's perfect and it's golden and it looks perfect. It's great.
Beautiful.
All right. Let's get a nice look at it. Look at that.
Ooh.
That's golden crispy grilled cheese right there. All right, next up we're gonna move on
To the tomato soup.
Yep.
Hi everyone, we're ready to get started with the light tomato soup. So we're gonna start off with 2 tablespoons of olive oil and we're gonna saute some onions in that and add a couple more ingredients. So let's get started.
So excited for this soup.
Okay, here we go. And let the oil heat up a bit and then dump the onions. The olive oil is all heated up. We're gonna add the onions to saute them, and Cher is gonna add some garlic as well. Let's get started. Go for it.
And in goes the garlic.
And you mix. Fiery. Okay, so we're back and we've let the onions and the garlic kind of sweat it out in the pot. And we're gonna add some tomato paste. Take a look. Ooh.
That's steam.
Okay, Cher.
In goes the tomato.
And we mix. Sorry.
You're good, you're good.
We have let the tomato concentrate paste kind of caramelize so that the sweetness comes out. We're gonna add some more tomatoes. They're cut up into like pieces of like 4 to 8 per tomato. And the vegetable broth is gonna go in. No, that is not dirty dishwater.
Looks disgusting.
It's vegetable broth.
But it adds a great taste.
Yeah, ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna let this stew for like 10-ish minutes, and then we should be ready to add the final touches. Okay, so we let it stew for 10 minutes. This is important to make sure that the peel of the tomatoes is kind of starting to come loose. You take a look. We put it on high heat so that it's really boiling and mixing together. We're gonna take it off of the heat now and add our white beans and puree. Okay, so we've got our hand blender here. We're gonna, and the basil.
And the salt.
A bit of the salt.
Okay.
Put it to the side. This is what the puree looks like after we added the white beans and mixed them in. The puree is kind of creamy now, which is what we were going for. You can add more beans if you want more creamy, less beans if you don't. You can also let it sit a little bit longer on the pot with the top off if you want some of the water to evaporate for a thicker puree. But we're gonna add some
Pepper to taste.
my least favorite part. Okay, we're back for our test taste of our golden meal. There we go. We're gonna
Really
dip.
excited. I'm gonna go cheese first. Excellent.
The perfect comfort meal for sure. Thanks so much for joining us today for our golden episode. Be sure to check out the Forest Foundation to see how you can go gold this September. Thanks!